Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Joseph Noy, and I want to welcome you to today's webinar, Leveraging Technology to Become a World-Class Function, based on the key findings from the NeuGroup's Principles of World-Class Treasury Management Systems project. On behalf of the NeuGroup, I want to thank all of you for joining us. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder and CEO of the NeuGroup, which is the leading facilitator of peer knowledge exchange for finance and treasury leaders, with a network of 18 membership groups conducting over 30 face-to-face meetings a year. These groups cater to finance and treasury heads and their direct reports across functional responsibilities and global regions. The NeuGroup also offers a supporting research program, NeuGroup Peer Research, of which this project is a part, to better facilitate knowledge exchange from and for practitioners. And finally, I'm also the founding editor and publisher of our flagship publication, iTreasurer, which is your trusted link to treasury information like this from our leading peer network. Okay, now a bit of scene setting for the Principles of World-Class TMS project. What is it all about? The NeuGroup launched this network-wide initiative in response to repeated member discussions on TMS topics. Something related to treasury technology solutions comes up literally at every meeting, whether it's part of the agenda or not. Therefore, we decided it was time to do a world-class project for treasury management systems that would follow in the footsteps of world-class projects we had done earlier for FX management and global cash management. Our objective, shared with our project partners, was to create and validate with our members a principles-based framework for any treasury department to select, implement, and support treasury management systems in a world-class manner, and perhaps most importantly, in accordance with a well-thought-out strategy. For most, this will be a roadmap to reach your desired treasury technology solution end state. For everyone, it should be about leveraging technology to become a world-class function, which is why this is the title of today's webinar. In accordance with the NeuGroup approach, a survey was developed by a core team of NeuGroup members with input from our project partners to show how respondents go about selecting, implementing, and supporting their systems. We got about 82 responses from across industries and from companies ranging in size from 5 to 100 plus billion. Primarily our members responded, so it has the sample bias of companies active in our network, which is all about knowledge exchange, benchmarking, and peer validated best practices. To get peer validation of the findings, we facilitated a series of interactive conference calls with the project team, culminating a face-to-face focus group meeting to analyze the results and develop findings. So on to the findings. Okay, so you're listening out there and maybe thinking, part of the reason I'm here is that I don't have the treasury technology solution that I want. Well, you're not alone. Nearly 70% of the respondents to our survey do not have the end state they desire. This does not mean necessarily that they're not satisfied with their current setup. It just means they know that where they are now is not where they hope to end up. And this is where we get validation for what we think we already know, namely, almost everyone wants a comprehensive single instance TMS as part of their desired end state solution, 97%. And more want a standalone TMS, 66%, than an ERP TMS or treasury module, 31%. And nearly half want the standalone TMS as their only end-state solution versus half as many for the ERP TMS. The corollary to this finding is that any secondary solutions need to be justified by real functionality requirements and the ability to be highly integrated with the main system. So I should point out at this stage that these high-level findings are presented in more detail in the report, which we will circulate some information about in follow-up to this webinar. But the purpose here is to give you a high-level view of what we discovered in the project. So moving on to slide 8, why a single TMS? A single TMS provides a single book of record. It's the best vehicle for straight-through processing and integration, at least within the treasury environment and with an ERP integration with the enterprise systems. A single TMS provides for centralized governance and controls. And what came out of the focus group discussion and is missing from our survey results, scalability or the ability to grow with the system Single TMS does this better than an array of separate systems, according to our focus group. So in simple terms, moving on to slide 9, the task before Treasury is determining how to get from the current state of Treasury technology to the desired end state, a single comprehensive TMS. If you look at this table, which shows the current state of technology used for key Treasury activities, you see where a single TMS or ERP is not carrying its weight relative to spreadsheets in particular, but also specialty third-party systems. Now for me, this sets up a useful exercise for any Treasury to perform. See where you are relying on spreadsheets for a significant portion of Treasury activity or an array of specialty systems, and probe whether that activity can be done on a comprehensive TMS, either that you have implemented or are considering. And if you have a TMS, ask why it is not being leveraged more for that activity. Is it because your TMS can't do it, does not have the functionality, you can't or won't do it the way the TMS wants you to, or you haven't learned how to do it in the TMS, or finally, you're just used to doing it on spreadsheets and not wanting to change. Either way, with answers to questions like these, you can formulate a path to move toward a desired end state that might be better supported by a single core system. Moving on to slide 10, I'd like to look at the selection and implementation findings. Number 1, resources, and in particular, Treasury resources are key to world-class Treasury technology solutions. If you don't have Treasury leadership for a Treasury technology project, it will not be a success, no matter how world-class the solution you select and implement might be. Number 2, because of this and the reality of resource constraints in most Treasury departments, more Treasuries are coming around to the idea that they should adapt their way of doing things to the way the system is designed to handle it. This is not what the survey said. Incidentally, 75% said that their requirements should take priority over the systems approach. But this was the conclusion of where things are headed from our focus group discussion. Because of this, I've called on the entire Treasury technology solution ecosystem, providers, users, and advisors to work proactively together toward the development and adoption of standard world-class processes and functionality to be supported out of the box. We may get pushback that best practice out of the box is not realistic, but I don't want to see that as a goal from the start. So if you have one takeaway from this webinar, I hope it is to join my call for everyone involved in Treasury technology to work toward this goal. Now, what about support? The third and final area we are going to cover today. It all boils down to this. Because of the resource issue with Treasury and the nature of Treasury IT support, Treasury systems are following other areas of IT to SaaS delivery.
I want to take this opportunity to once more thank all our panelists for their time and sharing of insights today, and again to thank all of you for your time and attention this afternoon, and hopefully there were at least a few takeaways to make it worthwhile. I can't imagine that that's not the case, but we thank you for joining us and appreciate any feedback and follow-up. Thanks, everyone.